Welcome to Living with Purpose. Our guest, Kadhir Raja Gopal, who's actually doing something very, very interesting. He is a educator, a teacher, a principal, and he won the Teacher of the Year award for California State. Before that, he was recognized as the Teacher of the Year at Sacramento, the city that he works in. And he is focused on ensuring that no single kid drops out of school. And he has created the Miracle University that takes people who are about to drop off out of school and gets them through the process. So please join me in welcoming Kadhir to Living with Purpose.
Thank you. Thank you, Akhtar, for having me here. Thank you.
Kadhir, I was so fascinated that I got introduced to Kadhir just a few weeks ago by a common friend and said, hey, my nephew is doing some interesting work. Please go talk to him. And I thought that this is just a great way to share the work that you are doing. So, Khalid, talk a little bit about your growing up and then your education and finally this interest in high risk kids that are about to drop off.
Briefly, my parents are both from India, but they wanted me to be a medical doctor or they wanted me to be a lawyer or a businessman growing up. I went against my parents and I found that my passion in life was to work with youth that were struggling, that were being written off as dropouts. And so I pursued my passion of teaching. And I actually told my parents I was in medical school, but actually I was not in medical school. I was actually a teacher in East Oakland, California, because when I went to college at UC Berkeley, I realized that my gift was working with young people that had been written off as dropouts, that were running the streets, in and out of juvenile hall, etc. And so in 2004, I got my first teaching job in Sabranti Park, which was known as the killing fields of East Oakland, a real inner city type of environment. And during that time, every student that I had in my classroom in East Oakland was written off as impossible. They had failed all their life, right? Many of my students had an ankle monitor. But I realized that my gift was in motivating students that were labeled as failures, transforming their spirit. I also was a teacher in juvenile hall in maximum security for students that were there for a long time for, serious crimes. There also, I realized that I had a way to connect with young people and to motivate them and help them see that every child is a miracle, to help them believe in themselves. And then I was a teacher in Sacramento, in North Sacramento at Grant High School. And there, my experience also was transforming thousands of kids that had 6 Fs on a report card, kids that had been missing school for months, that had no chance of graduating, and finding a way to jumpstart the motivation, the dead battery that was inside them. Because once you can motivate a human being and the student or the child can see the why, the purpose in their life, the why they're here, and they can be motivated, anything is possible. And so as a result of my experience transforming thousands of kids that were labeled as dropouts, I was Teacher of the Year for Sacramento County. Then I was Teacher of the Year for the state of California. And the state of California has 400,000 teachers. And so I was the ambassador for the state because I was Teacher of the Year. And I went to see President Obama, Barack Obama, and his Secretary of Education. And I asked President Obama, what do you want me to do with my gift? By that time, I had been Teacher of the Year. I had spoken at every national conference in the country. I had published books about how to unlock the potential of urban youth, students that had been written off. And so I asked President Obama, what do you want me to do with my gift of unlocking the potential of students that were failures or labeled as failures? And President Obama, his Office of Education, told me to go back to Sacramento and to replicate my magic, replicate my gift, and to replicate it throughout the city so that no child would ever drop out, to make it impossible for any child to drop out. And then he told me to replicate this across cities, across the state, so that the gift that I had could be replicated, so that not one child would ever fail. That was like a calling to me 10 years ago, to figure out a way to make sure that not one child ever dropped out. President Obama also told me that I'm going to have to find a way to work with the education system because the education system produces these dropouts. Let me tell you a little bit about the dropout crisis. In America, there's 1 million children who drop out of high school every year. And dropouts produce 80% of our prison inmates, our prison population. Dropouts produce 80% of our violent crimes. Dropouts also produce nearly 80% of our victims of sex trafficking. So the root of all of these social issues, which is homelessness, incarceration, crime, homicides, sex trafficking, the root is the dropout crisis. If we eliminate the dropout crisis, we will eliminate 80% of our incarceration, crime, homelessness, etc. So President Obama had given me an assignment to end the dropout crisis, to replicate this gift that I have across the city and the state and beyond. And so now we have our movement. This is called Miracle University. And so our mission literally is to end the dropout crisis in the city of Sacramento and every city in the state and across cities across the nation. We have a 5-year vision right now to transform 4,000 dropouts in Sacramento. Sacramento has roughly 4,000 children who drop out every year. And these 4,000 dropouts are responsible for roughly, again, 80% of our prison, crime, homelessness. So our mission is to end the root because this will impact the fruit, which is, again, the crime and the homelessness and the prison, etc. Miracle University has right now a 100% success rate of transforming hundreds of dropouts. What happens is we go to every high school in the city of Sacramento, we go to every neighborhood, and we ask the school district, we ask them for a list of all of their children who are failing. We want the list of every single student that is failing in every single high school throughout the city. Because students that have failing grades and poor attendance in the high school, they are 80% likely going to drop out, according to the University of Chicago. So if a child has 6 Fs on a report card in the 9th grade and a child is missing from school, that child already has a sticker on their forehead saying high school dropout. They're already 80% likely going to drop out. So our goal is to identify every child at every high school that has no chance of graduating, and we enroll them into the Miracle program, and we have a 100% success rate in transforming those students, making sure they graduate on time with admission to college or a trade school or a career technical pathway. And so that's what we do, Akhtar.
You know, I I would urge our listeners to go check out what Kadhir is doing at Miracle University. I don't necessarily evangelize on our show the work that anybody is doing, but having worked in the education system for such a long time, especially at the university level, what Kadhir is doing in high school in ensuring that kids have a pathway to success is so important for the future of humanity. So, Kadhir, I am so blessed to actually get to know you and thank you so much for the work that you are doing. Talk a little bit about what is your secret sauce ensuring that you have 100% success.
Well, it's a wonderful question, Akhtar. 90% of transforming the child that has failed, 90% lies in relationships, relationships, relationships. Our secret sauce is to go inside the heart of a child and to transform the inner spirit so that the child believes in themselves. The child feels that they are smart. The child feels that they are destined to succeed. So we are specialized in connecting to the spirit and establishing a relationship of trust where the student knows that you love them, that you care for them, you will never give up on them. So every student in Miracle has a mentor. Our mentors are trained in how to connect to your spirit, how to listen, how to really listen, and to hear what is the trauma that the child went through that caused them to fail, to miss school, right? Our mentors are trained to listen so they can see what is the gift that is locked within the child, because every child has a purpose. Every human being has a purpose. Every human being needs to find their purpose so they can live according to their purpose. So our job as a mentor, our role is to establish a relationship with the child of trust so that we can help the child realize what is their own gift, what is their own purpose. So our mentors are trained to listen and to connect. Our mentors are also culturally responsive. So our mentors, they speak the same language that the students do. So if the students speak Spanish because they're from Guatemala or El Salvador, our mentors that we assign to our students, they can speak the same language. Our mentors are specialized to going to your home. Our mentors do home visits all the time. So if the child is not going to the school or they're failing, the mentor will be at your door, ringing on the doorbell. Even if they have to come 7 days in a row, they will come because failure is not an option. The mentors love the child so much, they will go after you. Our mentors are like the Navy SEALs. The Navy SEALs, failure is not an option. The Navy SEALs will go through any type of jungle so they can rescue the POW. Our mentors will go through any type of housing project. They'll go through any type of skid row in order to connect and transform our children. So when a child has a Navy SEAL type of love, the child feels there's no way I can fail because this person loves me so much. And so our gift is in relationship building, connecting to the spirit, transforming the motivational aspect of the child's brain, you know? So that's number one. Number two, our teaching methodology is culturally responsive. Our teaching methodology is based on 20 years of unlocking the potential of children. Our teaching methodology allows our teachers to teach in a way the student understands, not teach in a way that the teacher understands, to teach in their language, the algebra, the science, the English, the physics, whatever subject. So our teachers in Miracle are the best. They're trained in how to teach the way the student best learns, to teach in their language. Number three, our secret sauce. Every child in Miracle is assigned an internship, a personalized internship, so they can see the relevance of school to the real world. So our students, if they want to do cosmetology, business, welding, medical assisting, phlebotomy, robotics, whichever pathway they are interested in, we connect them. So they are shadowing a professional doing what the child wants to do. So they get motivated because they understand why am I in school? Because they see the connection between the internship and what they're learning. Number four, we are big on celebrating students. We make it cool to be smart because many of our students, it's not cool. They're not popular for being smart, right? So we make it cool by celebrating them every time they do good. We award students scholarships. Every student earns a scholarship based on attendance, based on raising their grades, based on improving their self esteem, right? And becoming closer to graduating. So we celebrate. We have award ceremonies like the Oscars, and we give a scholarship every month to all our students. So those are some of the factors of success, but there's so much more that we do. We help with housing. We have a parent engagement event so we can reconnect the parents back into the journey of the child because one third of our students are considered homeless. The ones that come to Miracle, the dropouts, one third of them are considered homeless. Another one third are in foster care or group homes, and another one third are on probation coming from juvenile hall. So our goal is to reverse that mindset of from failure to success by celebrating. And so that's those are some of the factors of our success.
Yeah, I mean, what you're doing is just igniting purpose. You're just igniting purpose and helping these individuals, these students, these kids discover their purpose, articulate their purpose, and eventually get on this journey of living a life of purpose. So, talk about turning to that. Why is purpose so important for you, Khadir?
Huh. Wow, that's a beautiful question. Honestly, for me, I, I need to ask, what is my why every day? Every day when I wake up, I have to reinforce to myself, why am I alive? And if I don't have a clear understanding of my why and my purpose, then I will be all over the place, confused, not have direction. And so I need to know clearly what is my purpose, what is my why. That is the foundation for everything else I do throughout my day, throughout my life. And so I realized, at a young age, going through several things in my life that purpose was in serving others, especially uplifting the youth. And so that's my why. That gives me fuel every day. That ignites my engine. And I find so much peace living according to my purpose, which I have discovered is to uplift those children who are lost, forgotten, thrown out of the school system. And so purpose is everything. That's my why. That gives me my motivation, my fuel.
Talk a little bit about how purpose, how you use purpose to overcome difficult times.
Yes.
I know you celebrate small successes, and I think it is absolutely important to celebrate success. But just share a little bit about how are you using your purpose to get through these tough times?
I really appreciate that question because definitely in this journey, we have a lot of obstacles, a lot of roadblocks, a lot of times when People will tell you maybe you should quit. Maybe you should just go and get a 9 to 5 job, just, pay the rent. Definitely there's obstacles, especially in trying to transform 4,000 lives and create a system where there's no more dropouts. So I would say that I'm working on appreciation of grace, being grateful. When you have gratitude and grace, that gratitude allows me to overcome obstacles. So when I see obstacles, when I see hardships, I tap into my why. Why am I here? What's my purpose? What am I grateful for? Right? Why am I even given this chance to be alive another day? Why do I have this gift? I didn't make this gift, right? I was given this gift, right? So I'm grateful. And I'm grateful that I've had opportunity to go to school and have parents who love me. I'm grateful for this gift that I have to unlock thousands of kids. But, and so my level of gratitude that gets me through obstacles and hardships. My focus on my purpose, remembering and seeing so many kids come from nothing, come from failing to graduating, seeing them go to college, seeing them become a medical assistant, seeing them being a nurse, seeing that story, that testimony, that motivates me. And even though there's obstacles and hardships and roadblocks, again, the gratitude I have and seeing the transformation of so many kids, every struggle is worth it. Every obstacle is worth it. Every roadblock is worth it. And I would say number 3, I get excited by roadblocks and obstacles nowadays because there's so many. And the reason is this: obstacles and roadblocks, they're really meant to transform ourselves. They're meant to actually develop us. And sometimes they're meant to make us more effective in what we do. We might see it as a roadblock, but actually it's a gift. That thorn is a gift. That obstacle is a gift. It makes us have to reflect and refine our own techniques. It makes us have to develop humility. It makes us have to develop patience because sometimes things don't happen right away and we see it as a roadblock, but the roadblock is actually developing our patience, is developing our level of grace. And so those are the 3 things that I would say I rely on: grace, gratitude, focusing on the impact, the difference that we're making, and then realizing that roadblocks and obstacles are your best friend. They actually prepare you and develop you for a bigger destination. And so that mindset helps me get through everything.
Purpose allows you to get that inner fortitude
Absolutely.
where that thorn then becomes the point of focus that allows you to then use gratitude and grace as a way to get on that journey of healing, allows you to then manifest itself in ways that then unleashes the creativity of these kids. Just such an awesome way in which you purposes,
Mm-hmm.
which is fascinating.
Mm.
Khalil, as our last question as we come to the end of this conversation,
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Akhtar.
give us your one golden nugget, your piece of wisdom that you would like to share with our listeners.
Well, I would say that your greatest strength lies in grace. That's your greatest strength lies in grace. When you are really grateful for everything you have, then that will allow you to find your purpose. And your grace will allow you to get through rough times. Your grace will allow you to implement your purpose, even when the world is telling you it's not possible, even when the world wants you to quit. What gets you through? Grace, gratitude. So my greatest golden nugget at this point is soak in your grace, soak in your gratitude, and then that will lead you to your purpose, to be a righteous person and make a difference. And that will also lead you being transformed and transformed because sometimes part of our purpose is to be transformed into a better person, and so none of that's possible unless we have grace. So I would say grace is your greatest strength lies in your grace.
Khalil, thank you so much. We get some amazing people that come and share their journey. Khalil is one of them. And again, the work that Miracle University is doing to ensure that no child drops out of school is probably one of the more important things that one will ever do in their lives. So, Khadir, thank you very much for everything that you do. Our great appreciation. Again, to our listeners, purpose is that renewable source of energy that drives humanity forward. Keep focusing on it. And thank you all very much.